There used to be, well, you can see it. This air supply, this linear one, it was just all wet.
Always moldy too, I bet.
Yeah, because it was sweaty. What we did, just to save money, we just abandoned that one in place and then put in new ones, but insulated the ducts and all the connections properly so they don't sweat. Looks like it's working. God.
One of the issues we face now that you're talking about this kind of system, and historic buildings in particular, is that you have this big line coming to a duct, and then there's an adapter. So anytime you decrease the area that the air is moving through, you increase its speed and increase what amounts to the condensation there.
Yep.
How have you compensated for that?
I don't know. That's up to the mechanical
Is that right?
engineer.
But you know what? That's where it rusts. I mean, you try to funnel this big amount of air into a smaller opening, increases the speed, increases the condensation, and that becomes a problem area.
Well, really where the problem area was, it wasn't the duct. The duct was insulated. It was the connection between the duct and the grill.
And that's where the water ended up.
Yeah. And, it's these little details that get you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, so many of these windows had gaps in them. They really worked, and they really weren't closing. But
So these windows were original through the 1990s?
No, we replaced the windows.
These are double insulated, right?
Yes, yes. And the BAR allowed the double insulated because the ones that were on the building already were modern windows. So they agreed to that.
Because it was better than what was there?
Well, it's equivalent in their eyes.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that if some of you go into construction, this was another learning experience with the BAR. They expect a sample wall before you start.
Right.
So in the case of the windows, and the windows they weren't part of the original scope. We had enough money to change them out. So thank God we did, and we went for it and changed them out. However, the BAR required us to show them the window before we put them in. So that meant, and these are all custom sizes, so that meant having the company custom manufacture just one window, which, let me tell you, that means probably 3 months. Get it here, then the first one we got, the BAR rejected, so we had to order another one, that was another 3 months. It was a disaster.
And this was working with a millwork company through that bidding process too, probably, right? Was the contractor already been selected?
There's that too. I mean, it costs more, and so there's just a lot of things to keep in mind.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, turned out pretty good. And then every single one was a custom size. So there's a lot more work that went into that than the contractor had anticipated. I think the contractor probably lost his behind on this job.
So in terms of the anything outstanding on this building right now, what we're really looking at here is a case study.
Case study? Okay.
I'm asking, I'm thinking. I mean, are there any further planned work at this point?
No.
Okay, because then, so what we're doing is we're looking at what they've done, trying to track what's happened, right? And then talk about that and lessons learned,
Well,
which is not to say there's anything wrong with this.
Actually,
it's just that.
I take that back. The case study would be how to remove the coating.
Is that what you want to? Okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great case study for y'all. And that's something we are investigating. We've hired Craig
Bennett.
Yeah, to monitor the building for 2 years.
Right.
See if he thinks the coating is having an adverse effect. And then at that point, we'll make a decision if we need to
spend the money
or not.
Right.
And if we do, that means finding the money to do it.
So what are you going to do to help moisture-proof the building if you take that coating off?
Well, that's a big problem, which is part of why we kept it.
Yeah.
But talking to Craig Bennett, and he's not a mechanical engineer, but he talked about positive pressure
Sure.
to sort of,
Keep the air moving out instead of in.
yeah, so I guess we do that and hope for the best. And really, to me, it goes back to this really shouldn't be an archive.
Sorry, say what?
This type of building really should not be an archive.
So in retrospect, maybe what we should have done is built another building?
Probably an addition
Yeah,
that was
right.
just the archive spot.
Right.
Or maybe pick one area and really insulate the hell out of that. Or
Yeah.
something. I don't know, like the interior of the building.
Right.
Which, the library, Addlestone, the special collections area, that is like a vault within the library
Right.
that is on its own HVAC system.
Well, what people talk about now for like, especially for exhibits out in the middle of the floor or specialized exhibits, is just going in and dealing with it there
Yeah.
rather than the whole building.
Yeah, which is what we did in each of those rooms.
Right.
However, all the archive rooms have windows.
Yeah,
They're all on the exterior, so there's probably a lot you could do if we had the money to come in and reconfigure, like put the archives in the center. It's just all money.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It seems to me that part of the story is that, you were trying, not doing it cheaply, but trying to be reasonable about it. And then, and not wanting to go to the additional cost of building a new building. It's only in through the rearview mirror you say, well, after all of this, we would have been better off, if we'd done that.
Yeah, and I think that's a great case study for your class. How would you do it if you were to start today? Lessons learned, how would you do it to...
Well, see, that's the value of it as a case study, is to
Yeah.
get that information out there
Yep.
so other people won't make the same mistake.
No, which is why I bring them up.
Yeah, right.
And every project we do on this campus, there's lessons learned.
Yeah, no, that's why it's such a great laboratory for us.
It really is. It really
Yeah.
is. It's yeah.
Well, in fact, from a learning experience, I like the mistakes, even though from a practical
Yeah.
point of view, you want to avoid them, but nevertheless, they're inevitable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It became very emotional. The Black community felt that they were being picked on by
Right.
the BAR.
Right.
And it really, within their budget, they did not have an extra $600,000
Yeah,
to take
yeah.
off that meeting. So, what BAR wishes we had done was just leave it. Not put another coat on it, just leave what's there.
Right.
So, having an engineer rather than a preservation architect or specialist involved.
Yeah.
The engineer's thinking, okay, how do I resolve this engineering problem and make sure I resolve it?
Right.
So he's going to go out and hit it with the biggest guns, where
Right.
a preservation person would have taken a different approach. So
Right.
anyway, let me show you.
It's all good information. Preservationists tend to take an observational approach,
Yeah.
Fun artifacts.
So there's the main entry, which is just really beautiful entry. We'll just walk through these. So here we left fan club units. You can hear them. These are new fan club units, but we use this room they call it the changing gallery, it's a gallery that I don't think there's any changes.
I've been in here where they had presentations, they had art on the wall and stuff like that.
This used to be their little store.
Well, they do that downstairs now, right? Or do
I
they?
don't know if they have a